I spent 6 months unemployed after getting laid off at Deloitte, and honestly, I'm grateful for it. I know that sounds a bit insane, but hear me out. Those 6 months taught me more about my career, myself, and what's actually important to me than all the time I spent in my 3 years at the company. If you're in the middle of a job search right now or think you might be soon, here are the 6 lessons I wish someone told me on day one. To provide some context, I got laid off from Deloitte in April 2025. I thought I was secure as I was working on a very large, stable account. Then one day, I got an invite from someone I'd never connected with in HR. It was a very monotonous call saying that I was being laid off. The HR person didn't even have their camera on. They were reading from a script. It was so impersonal in so many ways, but that's a part of working in the space, I assume. The first few weeks, I definitely panicked a little bit. I started applying to all kinds of things, trying to find a job as quickly as I could. But then something shifted in my mindset. I realized this was a chance to slow down and think through what I actually wanted for my career and most importantly, my life. So I did something counterintuitive. I slowed down. And in between all of that, I built a system for my job search. I networked with intention instead of desperation. And most importantly, I reflected on what I actually wanted, not just what sounded good on paper. 6 months later, after many rejections, after much work, I landed a role as a solutions engineer at Akamai. I'm really excited about this role because it represents all that I've built thus far in my career. The biggest takeaway from my job search are the 6 lessons that change how I think about work, career, and job searching. Here they are. Lesson 1, take care of yourself. You'll search better when you're not burned out. When I first got laid off, I thought the right move was to apply to 50 plus jobs a day. In other words, kind of grind my way through this experience. But I was exhausted. And when you're exhausted, you can't show up fully and be yourself in those interviews. In some ways, you come across as a little bit desperate and not confident. So I did something that felt quite risky at the time. I prioritized my wellness. I kept going to the gym 5 to 6 times a week. I traveled. I'd made more times for family and friends. And you know what? I interviewed way better when I wasn't running on fumes. And most importantly, I was able to think through what opportunities were actually a fit for my background. And most importantly, the ones that I actually wanted to pursue as a next step in my career. When you take care of yourself, you have the mental clarity to think through what it is that you want. And you also can ensure that you show up in the best light as you're networking, talking to companies, and trying to land that next role. The job search is a marathon, not a sprint. You can't run a marathon if you're not taking care of your body and your mind. Lesson 2, reflection isn't wasted time. It's how you figure out what's next. Before the layoff, I was on autopilot. Show up, do the work, get the paycheck, repeat. I wasn't asking myself, do I actually like this job? Is it somewhere I want to be 4 to 5 years from now? Do I like what I'm seeing from leaders up above? Am I just here out of alignment or comfort? The layoff gave me the time to truly reflect and ask those questions of myself. Honestly, it was a little uncomfortable because I realized I've been staying at a place for far too long that did not recognize the value that I brought to the table. I journaled. I thought about what energized me versus what drained me. And I thought about what I wanted to do, not based on societal pressures or whatever things that can incorrectly dictate where you decide to work. Reaching that point of clarity made all the difference. Instead of applying blindly to everything, I was able to be a bit more strategic and think through which opportunities make the most sense for me based on what I was looking for. That additional clarity definitely came through in some of my better interviews. Having the space to reconnect with yourself is priceless. It's not wasted time. And it's the foundation of everything else. Don't skip the reflection phase. It's actually how you determine where you want to go next. Lesson 3, Your timeline is your own. Stop comparing. This one's tough because you probably see people on LinkedIn landing jobs and you think to yourself, why not me? Why am I not enough? Why don't I have a job yet? I fell into this trap of questioning why the search is taking so long. Why can't it happen more quickly and on, a timeline that I prefer? But here's the thing. Everyone's timeline is different. Some people land jobs in 2 weeks. Some people take 6 months. Some people take a year. And regardless of how it happens, it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. When you see others landing jobs, you definitely want to be happy for them. But I have to realize that, their search is not my search. The right opportunity for you will take time, and you really can't force that at all. What you can control is your effort, your consistency, your strategy, and most importantly, your mindset. What you can't control, other people's timelines, how fast companies move, the larger labor market. Lesson 4, build systems, not panic. Early on, I was all over the place. I was applying to all kinds of jobs, reaching out to people with no real plan, honestly just throwing things at the wall. It was exhausting and also just not working. So I did what I do with everything else in my life. I created a system. Just like I have a system for working out, I develop a system just for my job search. Here's what that looked like. I'd filter the results by 24 hours and send targeted messages communicating my value to those people that were hiring. There are tons of things you can do on the job search, but for me, this really moved the needle, and so I wanted to spend time making that a consistent part of my job search. This really made all the difference. It showed me being proactive to future employers, and secondly, it felt to be the most efficient way to land interviews, especially when I didn't have a referral or some kind of way to get into the company. Systems beat motivation every time. Try to have something in place that allows you to show up even when you're not motivated from the job search. Lesson 5, you are so much more than your job title. This one hit really hard because when I got laid off, I felt like a large part of my identity had been shifted. You spend so much time at work, so it's easy to think that in some ways that can be your everything. Who was I without the title? It took me a while to realize that I'm the same person. I still have the same skills. I still have the same relationships I built both inside and outside of work. The job title does not define me. It's just one chapter of my life. This realization was freeing because it allowed me to think through those questions that really mattered the most. I was able to actually ask myself, what do I want? What is not impressive based on what you may see on LinkedIn, what other people may expect of me? What do I want as someone with full control over my life? The layoff was clarifying. It gave me time to choose a career and design it in a way that would work for my life and ultimately what I wanted. Your worth is not tied to a job title. You bring value because of who you are, not because of where you work. Lesson 6, network with intention, not desperation. Here's the difference. Desperation sounds like, I need a job. Can you help me? Do you know who's hiring? Intentional sounds a bit more personal and strategic. For example, hi, so-and-so. I'm interested in roles within your industry. I see you work at company X. I love to learn more about your experience. One feels transactional and the other feels more of someone that's trying to establish a connection. And people can really tell the difference. During my search, I made it a point to network with intention. I reached out to people because I was really curious about their work, their career trajectory, what kept them at a particular company for so long. I asked thoughtful questions and ultimately built relationships that will help me at some point in the future, and also tried to provide any value I could as well from my perspective. If there was someone in my network they want to connect with, I'd offer a connection as well. Those relationships that I built throughout my job search process definitely landed to me acquiring interviews at a number of companies. Networking is so interesting because I think some people may overthink the extent to what networking is. It's just a chance for you to connect with someone, have a discussion, and learn about them. That's really all it is. You're having conversations, you're planting seeds that may not turn to something immediately, but down the line could help you in so many ways. Network with curiosity and intention, not desperation. So where am I now? I just accepted a role as a solutions engineer at Akamai. I'll be working with the government and regulated industries to protect the internet at scale. There is technical problem solving, customer facing work, public sector impact, and I get the opportunity to learn about a new space, which is cybersecurity. My 6-month job search gave me the space to figure out what I actually wanted. It gave me clarity. To everyone that's still searching right now, I know that it's hard. I know the rejections sting. I know waiting between applications and interviews is taxing mentally, physically. But I promise you, if you stay consistent, the result will come. It will get better. Take care of yourself. Reflect on what you want. Build a system that works for you. Stay focused on what you can control and trust your timeline. The right opportunity will come to you. If you're going through a job search, drop a comment and let me know what's the most challenging part of your job search process. I'm creating more content on career transitions, job search strategies, and navigating tech. If that's helpful, please hit subscribe. Thanks for watching. Keep going. You got this. Let's get those jobs.